Hi everyone, welcome on Cosmopol TV. I'm a student from ESPOL. Today we are hosting 3 international students. Luke, who come from San Francisco. Hello Luke. Henri, who is a third year ESPOL student. And Christy, who come from China mainland. Hello everyone. Can you tell us more about yourselves?
So like May said, I was born and raised in San Francisco, California. Both my parents are born and raised in the U.S., but my mother is actually French, and I was born with a dual nationality. So I have a dual citizenship with France and the U.S.
So my name is Henry. I'm French. I was born in Saint-Germain-en-Laye, and my parents were working for hotels, so I had to move a lot in my life, and I lived in England. I lived 10 years in Brussels, and now our parents are living near Geneva. And yeah, last semester I went to Korea too.
And why did you choose Korea?
Oh, actually it's kind of by chance. There was some place, I wanted to go to Asia by any means, and there was some place for Korea, so I chose to go to Korea. And it was, at first it was kind of by chance, but it turned out to be an incredible experience for, like, in every way. Socially, and I learned a lot of things, and I found what I want to do later on for my studies, for my master. So it was an amazing experience, yeah.
And you go to Korea thanks to ESPOL, no?
Exactly, yeah, thanks to ESPOL.
Okay. And hello everyone, I'm Christy Chen Yingzhen from China. I live in Guangdong, China, and my major is international journalism, but I came to France to study political science and business management.
Okay, thank you. After last week's events, we can see that everyone is supporting us from all around the world. Did you do something to support the victims? Can you tell us about the way you feel about these attacks?
For me, it's very shocked because I came here. This is my first time to go abroad for study, and it's very far from my home. So this event really shocked me, and I feel really sad for the people in Paris and, of course, all the French people. And also, I have a friend, and my friend's roommate, she was a hostage in the Bataclan concert hall, and like it was widely spread in our Chinese social network. And at that time, I was so worried about her. And then, like, afterwards, I heard that the police carry out all the bodies. At that time, I was really, really sad, and I just burst out crying because this is my first time to feel so close from the terrorist attack. And yeah, I think really a lot about these events, and I have to talk to my friends, both in France and in China. And like last weekend, I went to the Place de République for the 1 minute of silence, and I took some photos of the people. They're putting flowers and candles there and share to my friend, because I think this is a good way to let people know what's happening now after the attack, like how the French people behave. Yeah, so.
Thank you, Christy.
Personally, I was really shocked and surprised about it after the attacks. I really thought that we couldn't do nothing worse could happen after Charlie Hebdo, but actually I was wrong. And they could, I still don't understand how they could actually achieve such a huge scale terrorist attack on France. And so I did a minute of silence with the director of my school, so Alexis Massard, for my school at ESPOL. And I also believe that it's important to try to keep calm and to keep inside our emotions and not to, yeah, especially now there's a risk of discriminating a part of the population, the Muslim part of the population. I think we have to be careful about that, and we have to, because I think that's precisely what they want us to do, the terrorists. They want us to start to discriminate even more part of the population, and we should absolutely try to avoid that kind of trap. That's perhaps one of the best things we can do.
For me, there's a lot of anger that comes with the attacks. I mean, you know, growing up in the U.S., it's everyone remembers where they were on September 11th, 2001. I mean, I was only 7 years old, but I still remember it very, very clearly. And so it's all the same emotions that I felt when I was 7 years old. You know, I was feeling the same emotions, but you know, the anger has subsided. Now it's just grief for the victims. And I know there's a lot of fear in France and, you know, in the Western world in general, and not even in the Western world. I mean, in Turkey and in parts of the Middle East, there's a lot of conflict, you know, with innocent people being killed. But I think the important thing is that people shouldn't be scared, because that's why terrorism works. It's a small minority, and they're attacking innocent people. They're you know, putting bombs in places where there's children walking by, and you know, there's civilian casualties, and it works because people are afraid. People are afraid to go about their day like they would. You know, they're afraid to go to soccer games. They're afraid to go to sports concert halls, and this is why terrorism is effective, and it's just very important that people don't remain afraid.
Okay, thank you, Luke. And according to that, what do you think we could do to improve our security policy at the international level to fight terrorism?
It's a very difficult question, because you know, in the United States there's the National Security Administration, which monitors basically all online communication. So emails, you know, Facebook messages, texts, the NSA reads all of them. So when I'm back home and I'm sending messages to my family or my friends, I know that what I'm sending is being read by someone else. And it's terrifying to think that, you know, there is no privacy, but at the same time, you know, I'm not a national security threat, and I know that I'm not going to be arrested for anything I say, but it doesn't seem to be working at the same time. So it's a very, very difficult question, because there is no way really to prevent terrorist attacks. I mean, there's no you know, clear definition of what a terrorist looks like, and to say that there is, it would be, you know, racial profiling, and it would be, you know, enhancing the problem. It wouldn't be fixing it. There's no clear-cut way to increase security to prevent terrorism. And that's what's so scary about terrorism, but there's not really a cookie-cutter way to prevent it.
Okay, do you want to react, Henry?
Yeah, about what you said, it made me think of a quote from Thomas Jefferson, who said that if you give up a bit of liberty in the name of security, you deserve none. And I don't necessarily agree with that quote, but I think it makes you think about what we can do against terrorism. I personally believe that we need more cooperation, and the best thing to do to fight against Daesh would probably be to clarify our position or foreign policy, especially in France. We have a very messy foreign policy. We try to, in Syria, for instance, we try to fight Assad regime, but at the same time we're trying to fight terrorism. And I just find this, especially after the attacks, I find this irrelevant. The main threat nowadays is Daesh, and it's not Assad regime. And we cannot divide our force on the field by trying to fight two enemies at the same time. That doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I'm in favor of cooperation with unfortunately, with a dictatorship. But I think we have to make a choice between Daesh and Assad regime, and I personally choose Assad regime. Yeah.
Okay. So for me, as a Chinese, it reminds me of the attack this year in China, in Kunming and in Xinjiang. I think this is something similar, because I think we should not only think about the security problem, like from the military level, we should also think about the social aspect, because in Xinjiang, for example, like the Uyghur and Han conflict, it has been resisting for a long time, and also it's really hard to solve that problem, because I think Uyghur people, they're lacking a sense of belonging with Han people, because in China we have 56 nations. Like the Han people is one of the major, but we didn't discriminate the others, because we regard like all of us is unity. We are both Chinese. We are all Chinese, but I think there are a lot of misunderstanding for Uyghur people, and I think we should really think about why those people became terrorists, and we should make reflection, like what can we improve our relationship for not separating them from us. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Christy. You want to react?
Yeah, I would like to add something. think it's kind of interesting what you just said, because it's in a way it makes her think about terrorism in China and how it can be similar to what we can see in France or with Daesh. And yeah, it's true. We have to wonder ourselves why Daesh appeared. You know, they must have some sort of popular support on the field, and that means we have to question ourselves why certain people on the field in Iraq and in Syria joined ISIS, and why also certain people in France actually became terrorists. You know, what pushed them to become terrorists, and yeah, that's how we can start to wonder about the social conditions about those people, their education, what happened, and what made them into terrorists. That would also probably help a lot. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Let's say a French sentence to show that everyone is involved in this situation. What do you want to say?
L'union fait la force.
I would say, vive la France et vive Espol.
Liberté, égalité, fraternité.
Okay, thank you so much, guys, and see you soon on Cosmopol TV.